Let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. There's nothing but blue skies coming your way. I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. Blue skies coming your way. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is weather. Weather. This is Dick Whitney bringing you the weather.
Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread. Always stacking bread.
This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. This is Dick Whitman bringing you the weather. And let me tell you, I'm happy to say there's nothing but blue skies coming your way.
It is Saturday, April 5th, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. I am Bill Smith, and I'm joined by, with me, as always, the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself, Omari Ellis. Omari, how was your sports week?
Oh, the sports week was pretty cool. Not gonna lie, enjoyed it. Started it last Saturday, with the Battlehawks win. We'll see how it keeps going. Cause the law.
We'll cover 3 topics here on You Don't Watch Sports, just to sprinkle a little bit of sports information into your casual conversation, as we are your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Now, Omari, we're going to start it off with topic number 1, which is the baseball season, as we know, deep underway. I got some standings here to go over. We're going to talk about, obviously, the NL West is strong and powerful. We have the Dodgers at 8-1, the Padres at 7-1, and the Giants at 6-1. Strong division, strong start there in the NL West. Everything else is just kind of a little bit. We're seeing some things.
All right.
Obviously, the Phillies are 6-1. They're looking really good,
Cool.
but they're not even playing at peak potential yet. So we're
Injuries?
waiting to see on that.
Injuries?
Injuries on Phil.
Yeah, you said they're not playing at peak potential.
I mean, it's just that they're not they're consistently good, but they're not like on the highlight board kind of thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it's just they're just collecting wins. They're just being a good team collecting wins. But a team that is topping the highlight board right now at 5-2, topping the AL East, is the New York Yankees, who just cannot stop hitting home runs. They are showing themselves to be a powerful offensive team this year, and there was a little bit of controversy at the start of the season because the New York Yankees had a game where they won 20 to something and set a record or tied a record for most home runs in a game, including 3 home runs off of 3 straight pitches to start the game, which had never happened before.
That's crazy.
The pitcher throws 3 pitches, all 3 of them are hit for home runs.
All
That's how your
three.
game starts.
That's a long day. That's a
Now
long day.
that game was escalated into national news as we revealed that a new bat exists in Major League Baseball. Many people are calling the torpedo bat. It's also called the bowling pin bat.
Bowling pin. I can see that.
And what is going on here is that you have your standard bat that obviously tapers up and then at some point just becomes a cylindrical shape.
Okay.
It's a tube that at the handle part starts to taper down and slim down until you get to the knob. Um, and what these new bats are doing is you come into a facility and they measure you doing like 1,000 swings plus. They hyper analyze your swing and basically kind of figure out where you hit the ball the most at what area of the bat, and they just put the most wood that they possibly can in that area of the bat. Um, uh, this immediately escalated in conversation as things do in 2025. We are here to say at You Don't Watch Sports that this is not an illegal bat. This is an extremely legal bat. There have been bat modifications constantly over the 100 plus years of Major League Baseball. There's different knobs, there's circle knobs, there's big old puck knobs, there's axe handle knobs. There are all kinds of different, there's 15 different woods that your bat can be made out of, and they're all made out of different things. Not an illegal bat. Number two, not a new bat. Players were using this last year.
Oh my goodness.
Number three, not just a Yankee bat. Players are actively using this bat right now, this year, and they are not on the New York Yankees.
Fair enough.
It's just a new bat. And also, only 3 or 4 of the New York Yankees are using the new torpedo bat. One of the people that contributed to that home run tying record the other day, Aaron Judge, who hit 3 home runs in that game, is not using a torpedo bat.
Well,
He's using a basic old normal bat.
He's Aaron Judge, so I can see him still hitting those home runs without using the torpedo bat. But if you have a bat that turns 3 randoms on your team into Aaron Judges, it's not just a Yankee bat, and like you're the baseball guy on the show, obviously. I'm gonna take your word for it about it being around for a year because I just heard it was the Yankees, and this just sounded like some textbook Yankees, Patriots. Yeah, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying type shit. But if it's all legit, like you say, and other people are using it, fair enough.
Ellie De La Cruz, a player that I've mentioned on this channel before, plays for the Cincinnati Reds, currently using a torpedo bat. It takes finances.
Yeah.
Because it's a new cool high tech thing, so it's expensive. It's a very specific company that does it, so it takes travel and time because they will require you to like come to their facilities and swing 1,000 plus times
Because it's custom to you.
because every torpedo, every bulge in that like I said, it's people call it a torpedo. I like to call it a bowling pin bat because people can picture.
Yeah.
I feel like that's easier to picture the shape of, where it's a taper at the handle and it has that big belly, and then it starts to narrow again at the end. That belly of the bat can be shifted around depending on where your hot spot is as a player. And there's plenty of players out there that have tried it and ended up not liking it and going back to the other bat. Um, it's entirely a feel thing. There you could definitely say that there is some science behind it,
Yeah.
but it's also there's no quantifiable real data yet. It's I believe one player who's currently using it is like, I don't know what it could be doing or what it might be doing. It could even just be a placebo effect.
Yeah.
I feel good swinging it. So I saw one former major league player talk about how he got matched up with a bat company at one point in his career, and they switched up the wood in his bat, and by average, his balls that he made contact with went like 20 feet farther every time, but it didn't feel as comfortable as of a swing as the bat that he's used to, so he denied it and went back to his old bat. He was like, there was proven data that people were putting in my face constantly saying this is a better bat for you, and it just didn't feel right. So I stayed. It's like entirely a feel thing. It could be a lot of placebo effect. But yeah, it is not. It's not necessarily a new bat, not exclusive to the Yankees, and it's also entirely within the rules of making what qualifies as a bat in Major League Baseball.
Fair enough. I totally thought of like, well, yeah, if you're gonna go ahead and just have custom bats that only your guys do, and just whoop whoop whoop, nothing to see here,
Now,
guys.
the funny thing is, it did happen to be a Yankees employee that created this.
Oh my goodness.
Multiple years ago. He's actually got an interesting story. Might be the kind of guy that ends up getting a random movie made out of him. But he's an MIT honors graduate, worked at NASA, and just one day was just like, you know what? I'm a baseball fan. I'm gonna I'm gonna see if I can get into the baseball world. And he got a job, and he was on the hitting coaching staff. But essentially, what his job was the Yankees were having a hard time. Their nerds, the Yankee nerds, were having a hard time communicating their nerd thoughts to the Yankee jocks. And this guy was hired to kind of be the translator, to be the mediator between the nerd info that the Yankee brain computer people were developing
Yeah.
and translating it to real world how the players can implement it. Um, and during that job, at one point, they were like, hey, have we ever looked at bats? Joe, do you know anything about bats? He's like, no, I don't really know anything about bats, but I'll take a look into it. And then like
He
the
came up
story is like,
with
fast forward 2 weeks later, and he's one of the smartest people in the world with bats. Now he knows everything you've ever needed to know about bats.
that's funny.
And he's kind of the one who engineered the thought concept of like, why don't we put the most wood
Where they hit, where it makes
where
the
you
most
hit the ball
contact.
the most? And
So
funny enough, even funnier addition to that story, rewind 3 months ago, and the narrative in camp is actually kind of a little bit of fuck this dude. We don't like these bats. We're kind of encouraging them to not be used because one of their star players, Giancarlo Stanton, currently suffering an elbow injury,
oh
and he is not on the field playing. And as I said, like about 2 months ago, before when that injury was first really flaring up, they blamed it on this new stupid bat that this guy was using last year. By the way, that was invented by a guy that we fired. Um, and now it's just hilarious that now, fast forward a couple months, and everybody's like, "Oh, these new cheating bats!" Like when a couple months ago they were trying to they fired the dude, and he's working for the Miami Marlins now. And
that's hilarious. Like, yeah, This bad, he injured us. No one's gonna use these damn things if I've got anything to do with it. Main team associated with it. Yankees. But that's cool. But okay. Well, I'm looking
So that's the torpedo bats. And first week, my fantasy team, I've come back down to earth a little bit. You know, I'm not the insane scoring juggernaut that I was the first week. I am currently losing in my second week matchup. Um, uh, Down 16 points, so not a
okay.
huge deficit, but only today and tomorrow to go. Um, uh, the big story on my team right now is that Freddie Freeman, first baseman for the Los Angeles Dodgers, is on the injured list for 10 days. He tweaked his ankle a little bit. So I've put him on the injured list, and I was able to pick up Wilmer Flores from the San Francisco Giants, who has been playing pretty deep. Like he's been overperforming this season so far. That's why he was left undrafted, is
Yeah.
because he's just kind of a role filler. So you know, kind of the perfect guy to be able to pick up
There's some
and
slack
and
when
and,
something
and
like that
drop
hits.
again when Freddie Freeman's ready to rejoin the team.
Okay. I was gonna ask about that. I see that the Cardinals are 4-3, so you know above 500. That's a good way to start. Let's go. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
Cardinals.
we'll see.
Yeah.
Long season.
Yeah, and now from a long season with a St. Louis team to a short season with a St. Louis team, we got the UFL. So last week we were talking about some of the games and everything.
Yeah, I'm
When-
excited. I was eager to hear about this the Battlehawks season opener, even though it wasn't at home. You know, I understand it's not at home, even though you have your highest regular attendance for your entire league is right here. It's silly to put that. It's the obvious choice to open your season in the city that has a real devotion to your league. And
It has an
and you
actual
should
crowd and makes it look like you think you'd want
Yeah.
to make a good impression.
it,
right?
it's probably because Houston's a really great team. I bet it was a really hard fought neck and neck 50-50 matchup the whole way.
Oh no, good sir! It was 31-6 Battlehawks. We ran them down. We ran them down. Kakaw's law. We ran down the field. I think it was like 200 something rushing yards. It was not a good day for the Roughnecks. We also had the Renegades destroy the Brahmas 33-9. They saw our 31-6 and said, "Okay, we'll do 33-9," and that included a 60-plus yard run from the gentleman by the last name Balaj on the Renegades. I saw that in the highlight reel. That was a pretty good, cool run. The Panthers beat the Showboats. I believe we had both picked the Showboats last week to win that one just on the mascots alone, but the Panthers ended up winning that. 26-12. They sealed it with a game-ending pick six. And the Defenders upset the Stallions. The reigning, defending, undisputed Stallions already lost a game to the Beer Snakers themselves, the DC Defenders, 11-18, ending the last drive that the Stallions had with a sack. This week, we've already had the first game of the week play out on the 4th, which was yet last night. 21-12. The Stallions took out their anger for last week's loss on the Panthers. So now things kind of snapping back in order as far as we mascot rankers are going. Today, being the 5th, we have the Showboats versus the Defenders. I got Defenders winning that based off of the fact that they beat the Stallions and the Showboats lost last week. Roughnecks versus Renegades. I got Renegades. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Based on week one, yeah.
Based on week one, and we talked about it last week actually with the Battlehawks running them. Their running defense is not good. We set our best running performance since our last time facing them, when we played them. And then I just talked about Balaj on the Renegades having that 60-plus yard run in his game last week, and now he's going against the Roughnecks, who have a bad rushing defense from what I can tell. So I got Renegades in that one, and then of course you already know who I got in the Sunday night game. It's St. Louis versus the Brahmas. I got the Battlehawks. Of course
Caw
I
going
got the
undefeated in
Battlehawks.
2025.
Yeah, be about time, damn it. We need to go to the goddamn playoffs. Keep getting fucking gypped. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. Let's go. Cacaw's the law.
Now, I feel like I saw. Was there some weird like coaching exodus on a couple of teams? Like weirdly, like the day of game one of the season or something like that. Wasn't there some weird stuff that went on?
There was 1 minute. I'm pretty sure I saved it. Because you're right. I was like, oh, I need to talk about this one. Week 1 coaching exodus. Okay, I didn't save it. That sucks. But you are correct about that. There was some kind of weird exodus.
2 different teams. Head coaches just kind of were like, oh, it's 2 days before the season starts. Peace.
Yeah. Reggie Barlow had announced he was leaving the team to take a position at Tennessee State University. He was the Defenders head coach. And Ken Wisenhunt of the Memphis Showboat stepped down for personal reasons. So yeah, the Showboats lost their coach and the Defenders lost their coach.
In the week of opening day.
Yeah, right as the season was about to start. They're like, yeah, one's like, I got another job for college. And the other's just like, yeah, personal reasons, I'm stepping down. I feel like I've heard the name Wisenhunt too, from like NFL coaching. But yeah, we still have Anthony Becht going on year 3 or 4 with him. So we still have our coach, which is good. And we still got our home team advantage, which the Brahmas are gonna be. I don't care what they can smell, they ain't gonna be able to hear each other because too much calling.
Yeah, I can never not think though that The Rock is putting his thumb on the scale for that team. I mean, the first week makes it look like no, that's not the case, but maybe the first week is what makes him say, all right, now my Brahmas aren't going to be embarrassed.
So I believe the first season we had the Brahmas, they were not good. I'm trying to remember if there's been a season in between where the Brahmas were good because of like what you said. But yeah, that first game makes it seem like it's still the case that they are not a good team. But
all right, Omari.
You would think.
That game is going to have some competition for me because occurring also tomorrow night, AEW Dynasty, and as tradition in an AEW pay-per-view, we have a super stacked card. We're starting the Owen Hart Memorial Tournament on both gender sides here, building to your I believe your championship match at All In is the reward of the Owen Hart Tournament. So let's run through those real quick. Will Ospreay versus Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight's first match, I believe, in AEW, or first big match at least, big match of his career kind of thing. But Will Ospreay's got to win this one, right?
Yeah.
We got Kyle Fletcher versus Mark Briscoe. I think that's Kyle Fletcher. Yeah. And then we have Mercedes Moné versus Julia Hart.
Mercedes?
You got to say Mercedes on that one, yeah.
The house doesn't win tonight.
All right. Well, there is no house anymore. It's like the Hounds of Hell.
And there you go.
Okay, let's go to TNT Championship match. This has no time limit and no outside interference because this is a match that has already happened twice on Collision, ended in a time limit draw, ended in a DQ finish because of outside interference. So everyone's barred from ringside, and there is no time limit on this. Daniel Garcia, is it give Daniel Garcia a big giant win, or is it put a belt on Adam Cole because he's Adam Cole?
I'm assuming Adam Cole has been the reason the outside interference has been going on. It's been going on behalf of him or to his benefit. Because That just sounds like typical Adam Cole stuff.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
not
not
in like
this.
they're not doing like a heel thing. It's just kind of like it's like the chaos of it all
Okay.
is what killed the match kind of thing.
How long has Daniel had the belt?
Since he beat
A few months
Perry
now.
for it.
Oh, he
Yeah,
beat
it's
Perry for it. So yeah, that's a few months now. Adam Cole,
Adam Cole,
baby.
baby.
Going Adam Cole, baby.
Jericho versus Bandito, title versus mask. The word was initially that we put the Ring of Honor Championship on Chris Jericho so that Ring of Honor could get a TV deal. Um,
Did that ever happen?
that has not occurred of public knowledge yet. Um, I,
Bandito's her
I
whole
can't
thing
imagine
is the
they're pulling this
mask.
dude's mask.
I'm about to say Bandito's whole thing is the mask. He's a bandit. Like you could be a bandit and people know what your face is, yeah, but you're Bandito. Like that's your thing. I'm going with Bandito.
Yeah, I gotta think that Bandito is now the new Ring of Honor World Champion. But we'll see there. I mean, we're starting to separate the learning tree from Chris Jericho a little bit. They are fighting in a tag team championship match against the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh
This
hell, they
should be a
gonna
quick
get
match.
hurt.
This should be a
I'm
murder.
about to say they gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hurt
Big
Syndicate right
Bill and
there.
Brian Keith. Oh hell no.
AEW International Championship match, Omari. We have Ricochet, Kenny Omega, Speedball Mike Bailey. This match is going to be
Crazy.
craziness.
Stellar.
6 stars in the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah. That said, I got Omega keeping it.
Yeah, I think this is building. This is just going to continue Omega's comeback build. Hopefully leading to him versus Okada to unify that other dumb title.
Yeah, I haven't
Um,
heard of Speedball Bailey, but I mean, I can get an idea of what he's about, especially being a match with these two. But I also feel like he's there to take the pin out of these three. Yeah, where instead of Ricochet for once.
AEW Women's World Championship. Tony Storm versus Megan Bayne. Have you seen this Megan Bayne?
I have not seen.
She's a
this
huge
Megan
bitch.
Bayne. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. But yes, fair enough. I got Tony though.
Yeah, I got Tony too, but Megan Bayne is super impressive. They haven't let her do a whole lot vocally or anything yet. She's a huge bitch who comes out and stands over people and is huge. And yeah, and like kind of glamazon style
Fair.
presentation a little bit.
Those are always
So
fun.
I can't imagine she's going to have the title right now without a true mouthpiece or
Yeah.
showcasing a little bit of that mic skill. But gonna be an impressive, like I picture like a roll up victory from Tony or something like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just Tony getting out under the skin of her teeth. Uh, all right, I saved this one because I feel like they could potentially be connected here in
Okay.
in these together because you got this Death Riders saga, Omari. You got this thing that started that I've been talking about that
Oh
I
yeah.
brought up
You
several
brought it up
times
numerous times. I've heard
back
other
when it
people
got
bring it
going.
up.
Um, a lot of people are wondering if this is the end, if this show is the death nail for the Death Riders. We've got rated FTR in a trios match against the Death Riders. There has been a little bit of infighting between Cope and between the members of FTR, just a little bit, but I that could just be teasing
The red
something
herring type
that
stuff.
yeah. And then you also have probably closing out the night John Moxley versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. 1 year since Swerve won the title the first time. He won it at Dynasty in St. Louis about a year
no,
ago.
that's
So
crazy. And
what
Nick
what do
Rose,
you
I'm
what do
pretty
you
sure, was
think?
in
What's your
attendance for
call
that.
here? Do we completely kill the Death Riders off? Take the trios from them, take the world title. Swerve's the champion now. We're kind of resetting the AEW main plot line again. Um, or do we keep pushing forward with this
Yeah. So it's no
Death
secret.
Riders?
Yeah. So it's no secret to everybody that I've become a lot more casual of an AEW fan over the last year. Nothing against the product itself. It's just the ability to watch it with my work schedule and whatnot. But there are a few things I've picked up from the zeitgeist and everything about AEW. One is Cope don't like losing in AEW. He really don't like losing, and especially don't like doing it back to back. He's on, according to people, he's on his, Roddy Piper, other guy we don't really mention type shit.
That don't work for me, brother.
That doesn't work for me, brother type shit. So, and he already lost to the Death Riders before. Also, Death Rider Saga, not the most smiled upon saga from everything I've heard, even though I've always been a John Moxley guy, even in the Dean Ambrose days.
And the Twitters are famously negative about pretty much everything.
Also true. But as a couple wise men said the other day, it's Swerve's time. So I see Swerve winning. I see Cope beating the Death Riders. I don't see this being the end of the Death Riders. It's like the start of their downfall, or at least some kind of like hiccup within. But yeah, and I think it's also needed for the Death Riders because they're not really doing anything. That something's gotta spice this up. And if it becomes, Swerve doing it, and now he's got to deal with the Death Riders coming for his head type shit, and then I know I heard stuff about Hangman Adam Page, baby, possibly being involved. So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I just want a good story conclusion. If it's the end this weekend, that's cool with me. But it's just if it's just Swerve beats John Moxley and wins the title back, and Swerve is great, that's cool, and it's probably going to be a really great match. But like, it was an overarching main plot of your show, of your brand, was we are the Death Riders. We are taking over. We are elevating the young talent that have never been successful in AEW, and we are making them successful. And if the end result of that story is the guy who held the title 3 months before John Moxley held the title is now the title holder, it doesn't feel good.
I do like that look
It
to
feels
it,
like
yeah.
you're swerving, no pun intended, away because of the vitriol online. I
I mean, the other company's been doing that lately. So,
yeah, and it doesn't. It's like I would prefer a story conclusion.
yeah.
I from the moment this started, it felt like it needed to be a never champion, super underdog story that they built for a minute, and I don't think Swerve is it. Although Swerve is an incredibly credible champion
Yeah.
that should and could beat John Moxley any day of the week.
Well, like you just said, that's why it wouldn't fit, because he's not an underdog. He's Swerve. Like you guys are saying, it's Swerve's time, but Swerve, as you mentioned, had it last year. Literally a year ago, it was Swerve's time to be the champion. Now, before people come at me, yes, you could be a multi-time champion. I'm not saying that John Moxley has to be the only multi-time champion in AEW. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying given I didn't realize the whole premise behind. I thought the Death Riders were just like, we're pissed, we're taking over like every other heel faction. But if the whole idea is pushing the youth to be that next level, or pushing the unsuccessful and trying to,
I mean, his first 2 or 3 promos were all about affecting change and elevating.
Yeah.
And like he smashed a hammer on dude's hand because they were AEW originals who were still just jobbers and they needed to elevate themselves, so they needed a dramatic shift to affect them, and then they came back and won the titles. They just lost the titles to the Hurt Syndicate pretty quickly, but
they won the titles.
They were AEW Tag Team Champions. So I feel like that was the story that was building.
Okay, and I do like that idea of an underdog that's never had the title ending that kind of streak, or not streak, but kind of reign. So, and you wasted your money on the bank to get a fuck finish in one of these.
However, one thing they've teased in the last few Dynamites, if the story is that there's Death Rider interference, involvement, just like the typical Death Rider Jon Moxley matches that have been happening, and the way that Swerve overcomes those numbers is from an involvement from Hangman Adam Page. And then in the history books, the story of Jon Moxley and the Death Riders had to be brought down by the greatest rivalry in AEW joining forces. Yeah. That is a storied conclusion to this saga of the last 6 months of AEW. I would appreciate that. And they've kind of teased it. There was a really great moment this last week on Dynamite where Hangman's like, you broke into my house and fucking cut a promo on my baby. And then Swerve is like, you fucking burned down my childhood home. And then Hangman's like, you deserve that. And Hangman's like, you deserve that. And Swerve's like, I know I did. And Hangman stops in his tracks. And is like, what the fuck did you just say? And Swerve was like, yeah, I deserved that. And then Hangman just stomped off in a huff because Swerve can't be honorable in his brain. Those things don't.
Yeah, what do you say to that? Like, well, fuck, I don't know what to say. I'm still mad.
So if it's a we're putting our differences aside, like I'm gonna come at you, especially if you're the champion after today, like bet that I'm gonna try and make the main event of All In me going for that title. But if it's a we're putting our differences aside and working together because this Death Riders thing needs to end, I would take that. I would love that. Overall, I would still love a Will Ospreay or a Darby Allin in a 3-month slow build of this man can't do it. Boom, he did it. AEW champion.
I would love the whole rivals teaming up, but I also just like the idea, especially after the house burning, of those two motherfuckers never getting along as long as that company's open.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was the guy half a year ago that was voting for Hangman never wins against Swerve because I wanted the rivalry to just be eternal, and I wanted it to be a thing you could revisit 7 years from now and be like, yep, Hangman's 0-12 against Swerve Strickland. Let's see if this one's the. They've now built it up to where it's a Hell in a Cell where every link is laced with barbed wire. And
it's a very AEW thing to do.
And if you open the door, it explodes. Because they'd have to keep elevating.
Oh, no, I'm aware.
The death match.
We had an exploding barbed wire death match in AEW already. It didn't end the best way because the explosives kind of fizzled out. That was unfortunate.
Bring back the rabid dog match.
A rabid dog.
or the
match.
dog pound match or whatever it was
Oh
called
my
in
God.
WWE.
That was a thing. Oh my God.
They just ended up humping and pooping on each other all over the ringside.
Yeah, it was not.
Wasn't good.
Some matches, there's a reason they were one-offs. Like the Ambrose Asylum. Anyway,
All right, we're being recorded. We're live. Hey,
Yeah.
so that was the 3 topics here on You Don't Watch Sports. Tune into AEW Dynasty this Sunday night. And you also got the UFL games going on basically now, tonight, and tomorrow. Check those out, as well as all the baseball good stuff. We'll be checking in with my fantasy team again next week. Let's hope for a better week on week 3. Omari, where else can they find you on the internet?
You can also find me on Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming Earth Day 240,
Every day, 240.
at least for now. Real life may get in the way of that, but we'll see. All right, but there we go. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week, unless you got anything else you need to say. Nope. All right. See y'all next week. Adiosness. Are we going for a Frozen thing? Yeah, that's what we're going for. Alright. A lot of skill there, I will say. A lot of skill. I don't think I could hold it that long. Always.